New York.
Apple.
Hot dogs.
Dollar.
Hollywood.
Democracy.
Freedom.
Rock and roll.
Wall Street.
Statue of Liberty.
Los Angeles, California.
McDonald's.
Jeans.
Bubblegum. Video games. Nintendo.
What's so great about America?
Every Saturday night, 7 to 9 p.m., explore American culture and language.
With Master Steve,
Ina MK,
And Hazva Cutie.
tune in to find out about what makes America so great.
The Great American Weekend. Listen exclusively on Radio Van 103.1.
Also, watch us on the Radio Van Facebook page, website, and mobile app.
Hello.
We're back, baby.
Welcome to the Great American
Wait a second. Ina
Weekend.
and I are back.
Yeah.
Right? I'm wondering who this guy on the couch is over here. We have a guest to start the show
We'll
off with.
find out about it a little bit later.
It's
during the
Hazva.
show.
You
forgot me
It's
already.
Hazva.
Oh, come on,
Never.
It's been only like a month and a half, 2 months. Come on, have you forgotten about me already, Steve? Don't look at my face.
It's a coping mechanism.
I'm great.
I missed you so much.
I'm American.
I had to block you out of my mind completely so that your absence didn't hurt so bad.
Just like my many ex-girlfriends.
So we'll find out what was Hazva up to all this time. Where have you been and what have you done? But before that, we want to announce that tonight our episode title is Harvest Season and, of course, Labor Day.
Labor Day, yeah, which is the kind of the end of summer.
Yes.
In the U.S. I know, especially in Minnesota, it was always Labor Day being the last weekend before you had to go back to school.
It was always coupled with like back to school sales.
Yeah.
Where all like the pencils and notebooks. I remember being so excited
All these
for the
expenses.
beginning of school and like getting all these fresh paper notebooks and all these pencils. And it's really interesting in terms of like the consumerist culture. There's this like holiday buying event that's between Halloween and July 4th, which is like return to school. Do they do that kind of stuff here in Armenia?
Yeah, well, yeah. They buy a lot of stuff for school.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, here they do, too.
Capitalism strong and live in action.
New clothes for the kids, new pencils, everything
Well, it's a
connected
new
with
year.
school.
You gotta start over. And kids need clothes all the time because they're growing.
Oh yeah, they do, and so it's so fast. And I have faced this reality this day because my son went to the first class for the first time, first grade.
Yeah.
If I had like a button to do like an applause, I would like, woo!
You know what? I do have that
already.
So you are now the
here we
proud
go.
mother.
Nice, boom! We're using all of our
the
technologies.
canned applause.
Yeah. So yeah, now I'm proud mother, which has
Proud mother of a
mother's
first
group
grader.
in Viber.
Oh, how is that?
It's horrible, to be honest. Because you see all the exercise books, photos, the pencils, well, everything that you're buying in the store for school, you see all these photos in your messenger, and it's really annoying. Because, hey mom, hey mommies, hello. Are we supposed to get this pencil? Oh, yeah, I got this one. I got this one.
I got this pencil for my son. It has special red, orange, blue, and red. Colors on it, you know, like
the flag
like, well,
colored
I got a
pencils.
better pencil. I could see like Armenian mothers kind of trying to one up each other,
Yeah, they're
but like
competing.
subtly, you know, like kind of underhanded, being like, "Well, I got a pen for my son, not a pencil."
Exactly.
Whoa.
That's right. That's how it is.
Well, and they have to have blue pens here, right?
Is that right?
You can't use black pens at school.
Why? It's
Blue,
like-
red. We were given a list what we're supposed to buy. Like,
Is it a superstition?
No. It's just, I don't know. It's a rule. We had to get
Forgery.
a red, blue, and green pens, and also exercise books which have a brown cover, and etc. Specific. Each school have their own thing. Has their own thing. So.
Well, I remember when I was in elementary school, there were some teachers that would send out a list of stuff that you needed to get.
And I think this school thing was a lot more stressful for parents rather than for kids, because they're really excited, because all they do is, all the assignments are so easy. They come home, they paint, they draw circles, and they're kind of having fun with this whole new environment. So let's congratulate everyone with the start of the
Congratulations to all you students out there at the beginning of the new academic year.
And good luck to all the students.
A new year.
Good luck.
A new season of the Great American Weekend, and a new school year for all the students out there.
That's right. So
Excitement in the air.
Excitement and
that rhymes.
We've got all this new stuff. We've got all
air.
this new stuff happening. Yeah, and I was just going to say, just in time for autumn, when everything in nature dies and goes to sleep for a few months.
It hasn't yet. That's very positive.
Do you know what they call the process of leaves actually separating from, or starting the cellular process of changing color and separating from the tree? Cell apoptosis.
Apoptosis.
That's the process of the degeneration of the leaf cells that causes it to change color and then wither and then fall during the winter. So
I feel like
thank you for
this
info.
I am that much more ready to take the SAT.
Apoptosis, baby.
And further during the show, we're gonna have, as usual, news, calendar of events, and also I know that we have a surprise for Master Steve, but we will announce about that.
You have a surprise
later.
for me?
No, you have a surprise.
Oh, good.
For
Yeah, because
us.
I haven't. I've got something for you.
It starts with a Q and ends with a Z to all our listeners out there.
Guess the two other letters right in the middle. Okay, we're about to go on an advertisement break. I'd like to remind you guys that you're now listening Radio Van 103.1. The Great American Weekend, the show in English, which will be on air every Saturday from 7 to 9. From now on, we're back on track, ready to entertain and educate you.
We be back, baby. We be back.
Yeah, we'll be back after the break. Stay tuned.
Come and hang with us every weekend. It'll be a blast.
A blast?
Yeah, a good time.
No, come chill with us. It'll be cool.
Chill?
Yeah, relax, hang out.
Come chew the fat with us.
Yuck! No way! Join us!
And let's start. What are we doing?
Let's start. I mean, we already started. We've
Let's
been
continue.
rolling. Let's continue.
And we continue with our programming. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be speaking with you about harvest season, back to school, Labor Day, and beer.
Well, a little bit about beer. We'll talk about my summer vacation.
Oh, we'll talk about
Which was
summer
full
vacation.
of beer.
Oh, summer vacation, of course.
Yeah, I'm ready.
I got.
What, you're ready for summer vacation or you're ready for beer?
I'm always ready for summer vacation. In winter, in spring, in autumn. Always.
And beer?
And beer? Kind of. Maybe vodka.
I'm always ready for beer. I would like to let you know. Although, because of my low-carb diet and my blood sugar spiking at the ingestion of carbs, I have foregone drinking beer, unfortunately.
Oh, man.
I know.
Then Minnesota is just not the place for you.
Yeah, I heard that you had a beer extravaganza over there.
Oh, well, I mean, that's... I go back and visit my family in Minnesota pretty much every summer. And one of the things that I do, unfortunately, is drink a fair amount of beer, at least in the last few years, because they have the brew culture, like the microbrew culture in Minnesota, craft beers, it's just booming. It's incredible. There's something like 170 craft brewers in Minnesota. And so you can go to the liquor store or you can go to a restaurant, and the number of beers that they have for you to choose from that are just from Minnesota is unbelievable. So every time I go out to dinner, I'm having a different beer. And I can't keep track of them all. I can't keep track of them all. I don't remember. You know, I'm like, well, have I had this one before? I don't think so. I'll try that, and then I'll taste it. Like, yeah, I have had this, and I liked it, so this is good. But so,
do you ever do the ciders? Did you ever do the ciders in Minnesota?
Ciders are just starting to kind of come into their own in Minnesota. It was I don't know, a few years ago I had kind of my first one. I'm not a huge cider fan.
Yeah.
So even if there are a lot of them around, I probably wouldn't do it. They tend to be maybe a little too sweet and fruity for me. And that's another thing in Minnesota this year. In the summer, there were a lot of, because they do seasonal beers. These small breweries do seasonal beers. There were a lot of really fruity ones this year, like citrus flavored, banana, pineapple. No, not really for me. I really like IPAs, and I like porters and stouts, but unfortunately there aren't as many of those in the summer because those are more of a winter beer with, you know, because of the cold weather and everything. But yeah, so I had Surly. If any of you are ever in Minnesota, check out Surly.
Minnesota.
Yeah, Minnesota. Surly beers are some of my favorites.
I love the beers there.
Then they've got real clever names.
Did they say A in Minnesota?
They've got Surly Hell is kind of their lighter beer, kind of a blonde. Surly Furious, Axeman. Every year they do a limited edition of their Russian Imperial Stout called Darkness. And it's a little ritual with some of my friends in Minnesota to get together and have a bottle of Darkness when I'm back. And it's a really wonderful Imperial Stout.
Master Steve has become master.
Beer master?
Yeah, beer master.
Well, I don't know, man. I need to call up Neil and hang out with him.
Yeah, I remember
Yeah, from Darget. So that was a little bit about my summer. But I also, you know, I was in Minnesota and I went to the Great Minnesota Get Together.
What is that?
That's the Minnesota State Fair.
Hey, I've been in Indiana State Fair.
Okay.
Yeah.
And it's any sort of food that could possibly be put on a stick or fried or both, you can get at the Minnesota State Fair. Corn dogs, pork chop on a stick, these huge turkey legs that are like bigger than my head. What else? Cheese curds, the greasiest, yummiest onion rings like you've ever had. Wonderful saltwater taffy, beer and more beer. God, it sounds like I have a problem. Maybe I do.
Elephant ears.
Elephant ears, yes, which are really similar to punchies.
Yeah, without
the filling inside. Yeah. So that was a wonderful afternoon, just going around, going on some rides and stuffing myself silly with all sorts of street food.
You've gained weight?
A little bit. I do every summer. I can see it. I do every summer when I go back. I gain 2 or 3 kilos. So, but it'll be gone by Christmas.
I can tell you guys about my summer vacation.
Yeah, where did you go?
I was in Bulgaria with my son. The nature and the architecture and the city where we went to, this old city of Nesebur. It's one of the oldest cities in Europe, and it is in UNESCO Heritage List. It was amazing because they didn't.
So you had just an incredible, perfect, like fairy tale vacation.
Kind of, because there was a but. there.
It was beautiful. It was magnificent. It was fantastic. It was wonderful. But
the food was also really good. The sea and the seashore was cool, but people were kind of weird. And I don't want to be rude, but they were really mean. I mean, not all of them, but some.
It was really wonderful, but no, it was really wonderful. Except for all the butt heads.
Yeah.
Right?
Exactly.
Butt heads, jerks.
We had 3 days we had a problem of changing our room for 3 days because every day a new reception worker would tell us, oh, come tomorrow. And then the next day would tell the same story all over again because our room was on the 8th floor near the elevator and it was really noisy all night. And also the balcony had a really dangerous gaps for kids. So we're freaked out. But eventually, after I sang a song really loudly in the reception hall.
What song?
Let me not repeat it now.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Not appropriate for the air.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
Immediately we found out that there
I would like to see that. I would like to see, just...
You've never seen me like that.
Losing it and just going off on somebody.
Oh, man, I was
like... So it was basically, it was like Groundhog's Day. Like every morning you would wake up and go down to the reception and do the same thing. Like, can you come back tomorrow?
And they would say, I see.
Oh, yes. Wonderful.
Okay. And then when the third day, the reception guy was smiling at me and I was all pissed off. And I was like, what are you laughing at? And he was just smiling. Is that funny?
Well, for him, it's funny.
Yeah, maybe it was. Okay, we're ready for our next break and also music break. Be nice. Oh, very the song title.
How appropriate. Was that planned?
Yeah, it was planned. Black Eyed Peas featuring Snoop Dogg. Be nice. We'll be back and we'll be trying to be nice, telling our vacation stories on during this show. Stay tuned. The Homesick at Home.
Hey, Steve, do you like Chash, Harissa, and Spas?
Yeah, I love them. But what would you call them in English?
Yeah, I'd call them cowfoot stew, chicken porridge, and sour yogurt soup.
Sorry I asked.
The Great American Weekend.
Welcome back to the Great American Weekend here on Radio Vaughn. I am Master Steve.
And we have Hazva Cutie on the floor.
And Ina MK.
Ina MK sitting in the master seat.
Guys.
And speaking of, so school started and we're rolling into fall. Mm-hmm. And late fall and winter are definitely the season for Hash and Harissa. Right?
The cow food stew.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, actually, me too. No keto.
Chicken porridge.
Hey,
New Year's chicken porridge.
Hey, Hazva. So the hash is also keto, right?
I think so.
Without lavash.
Because it's basically like the gelatinous part of the foot of the cow or the pig. It's cow, right? Cow foot.
Cow, yeah.
Cow.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's like it's super great actually for keto because
no lavash, no Armenian
no
bread.
lavash. Sorry,
sorry.
And basically,
hey, you got the vodka and you got the garlic.
Yeah, you can have vodka and garlic. Yeah, that's fine. Just a little bit of garlic, but vodka, go for it, and the soup, go for it. Just think of it like this. Anything that has been through a process that is found in a bag or in a big bag or like that gets like pulverized.
What if I take it out of the big bag and put it into little tiny bags?
Are you talking about
and then
like,
eat it out of those?
You would cheat.
Anything that's been like pulverized,
that's
basically.
cheating.
I'm looking for loopholes. I'm looking for loopholes.
It's just about eating like eating the meat, eating like a vegetable you can pick, eating like, cheese is something you can milk, and then thyme. So it's like.
So what about harissa? That's
No.
not
Harissa?
at
It's
all.
grains.
Yeah, so grain. So the thing about carbs that was interesting is that any carb that is not, let's say, fruit based, is something that has been grown by agriculture over time.
Yeah.
And it's something that spikes the blood sugar in the body, so that the pancreas has to increase the amount of insulin to metabolize that blood sugar from the increased carbohydrate intake. So what happens over time in some people, not all, but some people, people who generally tend to be overweight or obese, the insulin production isn't enough to metabolize the sugars that's introduced in the body from all this foods that over the millennia has been grown to become part of our staple diet. And this consistent influx of carbohydrates into our blood system, it really takes a toll on many people. I mean, you can see a lot of people getting overweight these days, and
that's true.
It's all of the research is kind of out now that the previous models of the pyramid of in America, it was developed in America, the food pyramid, which is actually a cool thing to talk about.
Which replaced the 4 food groups.
Yeah. I mean, the grains being huge, and the research done to develop that was actually, it was 7-nation research done by, oh man, I forgot the name of the doctor, but I can follow up and get back to all our listeners. But this researcher, this doctor, took the diets from 21 different countries and then selected 7 countries to kind of fit his model and his conception that a high-fat diet is worse for the body. And the reasoning was because all these people who have heart attacks have cholesterol built up in the parts of their body where there has been inflammation. And inflammation has multiple different causes. Smoking can do that, drinking can do that. But one of the major causes is sugar that causes inflammation inside the veins. When there's a high level of sugar inside of the blood, there is a greater incidence of inflammation. So all these people who are having heart attacks and have cholesterol that kind of gather in the spaces of their veins or their arteries, that basically is like there to patch it up. The cholesterol is there to patch it up. It wouldn't be there if the carbohydrate intake or the inflammation, which the carbohydrate intake could affect along with other lifestyle choices, were not really part of an everyday lifestyle or practice. So with keto, sorry, I went on a
No. Thank you.
I went on a tangent. I went on a little bit of a tangent there, but
it's a really good
he's making up for
information.
lost time.
yeah, exactly.
Thank you,
You
Doctor.
got to get in your word count.
Thank you, Dr. Hazva, because we need this information before we start the autumn.
The winter,
stuffing
it's like
ourselves.
the bears, how they kind of like eat all the food during the harvest season.
Yeah, that's
And
what happens.
just before you go into your cave to hibernate. So it's better not to eat carbs and eat meat.
Yeah.
Eat greens that grow above ground and eat cheese and nuts and if
Wait,
it
are
has
there
one,
greens that grow below ground?
So what? That's a good question. I don't think that eat vegetables. I meant, my English has suffered.
Eat
I've been living in
healthy.
Armenia so long, my English is starting to suffer. Help me!
Oh, come on. Eat healthy, guys. Eat greasy if you're on a keto diet. And I would like to remind our listeners that they can write their comments in our live video and also call in.
They can call us in.
Call in.
Listen, if you're listening out there, anyone out on the radio waves, you in the car, you in front of your laptop, you, I'm speaking to you. Remember,
Me?
you can call us.
I can call in?
You can call us right now.
What's the number?
5, 6.
I'm going to call in.
Wait.
Right now.
What is the number? What is the number?
Stephen, don't do that.
What is
He was talking to me. He's looking right at
Please
me,
don't
pointing
look
at
at
me.
him.
You can call.
in front of the computer?
Hazva,
in front of your microphone.
look at me when you speak. Don't look at him because he's going to do
But
it.
what's the number?
I get easily
the number.
confused.
Okay, attention. So our number is 0901. It's a landline. So call. Do not hesitate. Practice your English. We will help you guys.
That number is 560901. What's that number again? It's 560901. And you can call right now and have your chance to speak with Master Steve, with Ina MK, or
and
with me, Hazva
QT.
QT.
Thank you. Thank you for this moment of advertisement, a moment of information.
As an additional note, for all of you international listeners out there, it's 1374
plus.
No, plus 374.
Plus
374.
What was the number again?
1
plus 374 10 and then 560901.
So that's plus 37410560901.
And we have a comment from Irene. Hello, everybody. Happy to hear you again. Missed you so much. As far as the Labor Day, every day is a Labor Day for me, I guess. Well, yeah, basically for us, I think it's also that way, especially for people who have kids. So hello, Irene. Thanks for your comment. We're always happy to hear from you. And you can also call us in 560901. I bet you know this number by heart. And let's move to the quotes eventually.
Yeah, we're not going to sit here and twiddle our thumbs just waiting for people to call. We're going to move on with the show.
Yes.
Yeah.
So,
And we've got an exciting show.
Lay some
Jam-packed.
quotes on us.
Yeah, I've got some quotes about school because we have the beginning of school year, and so I picked some quotes for us to discuss. Here we go. I wish my school days could have dragged on a little longer, or that I could go back and do it later in life, says Cara Delevingne, I guess. So would you guys want to go back to school or to college?
Yeah.
What kind of feelings do you have
yeah.
about this one?
I'd like to go back to school.
On a drop of a dime, every once in a while, I romanticize about the idea of being like a 40-year-old student in a master's program, doing something really just totally out there in terms of creativity, art, or combining cultures with the arts. I dream about that all the time. This is why I'm here on the radio, really, is because it's the combination of different cultures, and I get to try to be funny, which I don't know if it works or not, because I don't know if anyone really listens.
Oh, it does. Come
Call
on.
us. But
Call us just to laugh at Hazva so that he feels.
feel
Oh, wait a second.
You're welcome. You know what? You're more than welcome.
Call.
To call
Don't tell us
just to
who you
laugh
are.
at
Don't
me.
say
Even if
anything.
it's a phone
Just
call.
laugh.
So just to remind you, for all those who in Yerevan, the number is
560901.
560901.
Call and laugh with your evil laughter. Okay, so, but Stephen, would you like to go back, in the past or now in this age? What's your fantasies on this one?
To go back to school?
Yeah.
Boy, I would do either. I really would do either. Because going back would be interesting because how far back? Like going back to my college days in that time period, the late 90s, where the internet was just kind of getting started, but there really wasn't much there, where doing research and stuff was something different. You did research by going to the library. It would be interesting to go back to those days.
Yes.
I in a sense kind of have. I mean, I have a Kindle, but I don't use it anymore. I read physical books, and I find new books to read typically from the book that I am reading. So
I don't like reading online or with a phone. I don't like it either.
I can, but I find that I don't remember it as well.
Yeah.
I think there's something that is, it's interesting you mentioned this about the library or the quality of being inside of a bookstore.
The smell of the books are
exactly.
Also, right?
That's the physical contact, the smell, being available to see all these different titles as they pass you by within the genre of what you're looking for. So part of the curation of a library is such that the books that you're interested are kind of gathered within a section. And so you get these multiple different perspectives on a topic right from simply being in that space. And I know Google gives you that with links and with link sharing and with books and everything, but there's something that I recently had read about the quality of your memories when you are taking notes versus just reading something, and how the tactile writing down of your thoughts is put into memory more deeply than something that is read. Because when you're passive in terms of receiving information, you aren't as likely to remember it as if you're active. So that doesn't necessarily mean to take out library books and write notes on the side, which many people do.
That's why I can't go to the library anymore, because I have this habit of writing in books as I read them.
Buy books.
And I buy books and I write in them, and then I lend them to people and they give them back to me and say, I can't read this. I'm like, why not? It's not that difficult. And they're like, there's all this other stuff in there. I can't read it. It's a mess. I started reading a book on the plane on the way back from the U.S. By Herbert Dreyfus called On the Internet. And it's a little bit dated, but one of the things that he was talking about is how the internet is not really organized.
Yes.
And so there's all sorts of information and knowledge out there, but it's not organized in any sort of formal way. And so you surf the internet. You kind of float around it. And as a result, the significance of things, the context of things is kind of lost.
Yeah. I find myself reading a book and a quote and then searching that on Google to try and see where I can get that, because otherwise sometimes you put in the title and then several other things. I mean, you're relying on an algorithm to deliver to you something that is content specific. And there's a creative act in terms of that search for something that you're looking for, whether it's a book or knowledge or something that you're looking to access. And that relationship between you and a librarian, I feel like in terms of it as a creative act. Also. Well, a responsibility in terms of the librarian having to know all these the different books and topics and directing people to where the books would be, but more in terms of it's a creative act, because that librarian who's kind of standing in the center with the knowledge of how everything is curated in that library with care and with kind of an understanding of how everything is organized, directs you more in depthly than an algorithm would, because naturally someone who's kind of living within this space of all the books and all the the stacks and journals and the magazines knows exactly where that would be, and so that request would be kind of like an irreplaceable by an algorithm creative act.
Well, yeah, because my understanding, and I could be wrong. If I'm wrong, someone please correct me. But
call us in and correct Master Steve.
Call in and correct me.
Dare to correct Master Steve.
They pull things out that are popular, and they point out connections that are popular. And so it's not with the librarian or with an expert of any sort. Even if the librarian doesn't know what is going on, you could go to a professor. You could go, and the algorithms don't really have that sort of expertise or authority.
Well,
they look at what people are. They look at what everybody else is doing, and assume that the majority is right.
Yes.
Guys,
look at world politics right now.
Yes.
Boys.
And I think we should really question that assumption.
Yes, totally. Because
I would like to remind you that we put our quotes on hold, but really quickly, speaking of a book with notes, I would like to say that, if you lend your book to someone with a book with your notes, it's kind of really letting someone into your personal space, because you point out the things that you really like and also your own thoughts maybe. So I think people who borrow a book from you should be really close to someone who
No,
it could be. I mean, that's my perspective. And also, I'd like to tell about the book that I recently read. It was really good. So if you guys are starting to learn English or want to practice it, it's really easy to read in English book. It's called Flowers for Algernon. It's a great one.
Yeah, read the book.
A science fiction, short story and a novel by American writer Danielle Keyes, right?
I believe so. And there's also a great movie that goes along with it too.
By the way, which version have you watched? Because there are like American version, French version, and also a new and old one.
I don't speak French, so not the French version.
Yeah.
An American version. It was in English.
Pourquoi?
Why? He says why.
That was a lot of words for why.
He gave a look to me like, Alperes Martin Chasets.
What did you say? Hey, dude. Okay, so make sure you read this one because it's a great book. I really loved it. And let's move on with our quotes, if you guys don't mind. So, education is the key to unlocking the world. A passport to freedom. Oprah Winfrey. So, yeah. I agree on this one. I like a teacher who gives you something to take home to think about besides homework. Lily Tomlin. Yeah, it's a good one. Actually learning. And what follows is, let us remember, one book, one pen, one child, and one teacher can change the world. Malala Yousafzai.
Yes, it's true.
He who opens a school door closes a prison. Victor Hugo.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
So much to unpack there.
Yeah. School prepares you for the real world, which also bites. Oh, Jim Benton. What is
So school bites.
Yeah,
school is horrible.
School
But
bites
you know
and
what?
the real world bites.
The real world does too.
What is the most important thing one learns in school? Self-esteem, support, and friendship. Terry Tempest Williams. In school, you learn how to learn, and this is one of my favorite ones because this is what I always tell like people who I discuss it with, people who doubt which school to choose, which university to choose later on during their life. You actually really learn how to gain this information, and later, when you're ready to decide who you want to be in life, it can be later, but then. This is the school is a great base for you to do the step forward.
Yeah. Oh, I definitely think so. You learn how to learn your own way because not everybody learns the same way.
Exactly.
And that's important. But also, you learn about context. You know, students always talk about, well, why do I need to take this class?
Yeah.
I'm never going to use this. Well. You may not
you
use
never know.
it. First of all, yeah, you never know. Second of all, you may not use it, but it's there. And it helps give context and background to other things that you're going to experience in your life. And so you can put those experiences and those new ideas into a meaningful place.
And to have a bigger world view. Overall.
Yeah.
Not just
so, all of this stuff that you learn that you think you're never going to use, it does play a part in how you see the world, how you organize new information. And that's part of learning how to learn. Learning how to make meaning of your life.
And of the information that from my experience, what I've learned, what I have, my opinion is that whatever I've learned, whatever I studied in life, I never thought that later I'm gonna do this job, or I never thought that I would ever use it. But then it appeared that I needed it at some point. It can be a short period. It can be one moment during a conversation, but it comes to you. So maybe it's the opposite. Whatever you learn, you drag like a magnet.
Gurdjieff has a great quote about this. There's an Armenian philosopher, George Ivanovich Gurdjieff. He says, no work goes unpaid.
Yeah.
And this is kind of how I see both education and any volunteer work you might do, or anything that you do for its experience in depth. If you do it in depth, that at some point that experience has a connection to another experience that you might have, and you can bridge that which you do or that which you work with what might bring you some kind of experiential value or greater connection with someone else or monetary remuneration. So there's that quote, and I wanted to ask, because I always thought, all right, so you know that Pink Floyd song, "Hey Teacher, Leave Those Kids Alone"?
Yeah.
So this is so. I wanted to ask you guys what you think that about. Like, what do you think the teacher is doing to those kids that they're saying, like, leave those kids alone?
And let's leave this conversation for after the break.
Yeah, because I got to think about this one.
Keep this in mind.
Cliffhanger. Boom.
Keep this in mind.
Did you ever wonder what the teacher was doing to those kids in that Pink Floyd song? Keep listening.
Making them learn stuff they didn't want to, I guess.
And if you're out there listening and you have an opinion on this question,
call.
Right? Or
Go
call.
ahead and
We
call
want to
us
know
in.
what you're thinking.
560901. Stay tuned. This is the Great American Weekend with Master Steve, Hazva QT, and
Ina MK.
Oh, wow. That sounds good.
Hello?
Hi, is your refrigerator running?
No, it doesn't have any legs.
Some American jokes just don't work with foreigners.
And yes, we're back in
baby.
the
We are back.
studio, and we're having a coffee break right here on air.
Yeah, I was a little pokey in making the coffee, so we didn't get it done.
Made by Master Steve, so it will be full of
that's a word. That's a word, pokey.
And useful energy.
Coffee by Steve.
Yeah, coffee by Master Steve. That's what we need.
The word, pokey. Which...
There you go.
It's not clumsy. I was not just demonstrating.
I will.
This is what you're not supposed to do during your classes in school.
Yeah, exactly.
Making noise. Okay. Neil Postman.
Oh, yeah. I had a quote.
Yeah, please.
I had a quote that I added. And I like it. At its best, schooling can be about how to make a life, which is quite different from how to make a living.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that makes sense.
You know, how to
live and not to just exist.
Well, how to be a person, how to make yourself,
a
how
lucky
to
person,
make meaning of your life. Yeah.
There is another one. Would you like to read?
No, that's too long.
Okay, that's too long. So
just like, nah, I will not.
I'm going to spare you
Hazva.
guys. It's a really long Neil Postman quote.
Can I read it? Is it possible for me to read it? Or no? Can we move on to our next segment? We will be
please
moving on.
Please introduce it.
We will be moving on to our next segment. For our next segment, I'm proud to introduce to you a classic medium of comedy and an homage to Radio Yerevan, Armenian Radio, or Armenian Radio.
Yeah, finally, because we were planning to do it for so long, and now, for the first time, on Radio Van, Hazva QT. There you go.
Radio Yerevan, or Armenian radio jokes, were very popular in the Soviet Union and in other communist countries of the ex-Eastern Bloc in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and up until the breakup of the Soviet Union. And actually, as a small aside, when I was in Hamburg this past 2 weeks ago, I was in Hamburg for a week, and I told someone from Armenia, and the first thing they said was, "Oh, Armenian Radio, Radio Armenian Radio," and I was like, "How do you know that?" And they're like, "Yeah, East Germany, duh." And I didn't even consider the fact that Armenian Radio or Radio Armenia, these jokes.
Yeah.
Went all the way to East Germany, which is kind of huge in a way that it was
all
so
the way to
prolific.
the Iron Curtain,
But
then that Iron Curtain put a stop to it.
But was the person you were talking to German or
Yes?
German. No Armenian roots at all?
No,
Yeah,
none. No. This is straight German from East Germany. Yeah, like East Germany. So no, this is something known throughout the Soviet Union. So These jokes usually were in question and answer format and about a variety of topics. Political jokes and commentary were broadcast outside the Soviet Union, but within the Soviet Union there was a range of jokes covered of all topics that were quotidian to humorous. Marital relations, sex, Soviet stereotypes were all different
No
topics
sex
that were
during
discussed.
Soviet. There was no sex.
Yeah, we don't have sex in the Soviet Union.
No sex in the Soviet. It says who? How were you guys born? Come on.
That's what they would
Yeah, they're definitely having
say.
sex.
That's
Definitely
one of the
having
jokes.
sex. On occasion, to honor the legacy of the radio comedy and Armenian political humor, we'll be performing some original, some updated, and some totally new Radio Yerevan question and answer jokes. Today, we'll be having Steve be the caller, and I'll be playing the answer. So in the Armenian Radio question and answer, there were two characters. So do you have a sound effect for a call?
No, I'm
Okay.
sorry.
That's
Can
okay.
you make like,
I'll
can you
just
make like a sound?
I can do the applause.
Can you do like a sound effect like with your mouth, like ring, 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 ring?
Yeah,
Okay.
I'll do that.
All right. So for the first question,
Just
we'll
wink and I'll do that.
Should I
for it.
go outside and call in?
That would
on
be
my-
awesome, but like next time. Next time.
Oh, why didn't I think of that before?
Okay. You ready? Yeah.
All right.
Ring, ring.
Hello.
Yeah. I got a question.
What's your question?
Is there a difference between capitalism and socialism?
A very good question. Is there a difference between capitalism and socialism? The answer, in principle, yes. In capitalism, mankind exploits mankind. In socialism, however, it is in the reverse. Applause. Or do you have like a laugh track?
Canned
Do you have a laugh track?
Applause.
canned laughter.
Do you have a laugh track? Do we have to have a... Oh my god, we're really having fun today. There's no laugh track? Really? Oh my god. Okay, we'll just all have to laugh then.
What I want after these jokes is that timpani part from the Zarsuthra
Yeah,
suite.
Exactly.
We also have this one.
Okay, you can have fun with it. All right, we need another phone call. I think I hear another phone call.
Ring, ring.
Hello, you have called Armenian Radio. What is your question?
What is an Armenian musical duet?
Very good question. This is very important. What is an Armenian musical duet? Now, an Armenian musical duet is actually a musical quartet after a trip abroad. Because usually people like to stay where they go. Okay, on to our next caller.
Ring, ring. Why the symbol of the Republicans in the U.S. is an elephant, but that of the Democrats is a donkey?
You know, now this is a very interesting question. Why the symbol of the Republicans is elephant, but that of a Democrat is a donkey? Now, usually people think it's because the Republicans remember and the Democrats are stubborn, but this is not the case. Because in democracy, there is no ass that can symbolize two political parties at the same time.
No way.
That is probably more true now than ever.
Than ever. Yes, totally.
We didn't say that.
And now we go on to our next caller. What is your question?
Ring, ring. What can a woman make from nothing?
This is very simple. A woman can make a stylish hair out of nothing. A woman can make a stylish haircut, a salad, and a very dramatic tragedy.
Oh, that's true. I agree.
Okay, do we have another caller?
Ring, ring.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Is it possible to sleep with an open window?
Is it possible to sleep with an open window? Very good question. Now, putting aside the risk of skvozniak, yes, it is possible to sleep with a window if there is nobody else to sleep with it.
Don't use your imagination here. or maybe do so.
Okay.
I have a feeling that if the window is closed, you might run the risk of breaking it.
Move fast, break things. That's a Facebook motto.
Be gentle. Ring, ring.
We have another caller. Yes, caller. What is your question?
What is Russian business?
Yes. Russian business is to steal a crate of vodka, to sell the crate of vodka, and then to drink the money away.
Okay. What is American business?
Follow-up question with American business. Okay. It's to do the same thing with craft beer and then blame it on Russia.
What is Armenian business?
This is very important because very dear to my heart. Armenian business is not to do anything and wait for orders from either America or from Russia.
Yeah. The truth. Ring, ring.
Okay, and now we have time for our final caller. Yes, caller, what is your question?
Hello. What is the Armenian government not in a hurry to land our men on the moon?
That's a very interesting question. Why is it, just to reiterate the question, why is the Armenian government not in the hurry to land a man on the moon? Answer is, well, what if they refuse to return and come back?
Again, that same thing. We need to break the stereotypes. Armenians, come back home. Armenians around the world, diaspora, just prove that this is not truth. You're not gonna live on the moon.
This is why To Armenia has a very special place in my heart. So you've been listening to jokes from the Soviet era on Armenian radio comedy, and we have this segment that is dedicated to kind of reviving this radio comedy culture that was really prevalent during the Soviet era.
It was popular
across many cultures, like I was saying, in Germany, from Germany all the way to Tajikistan, Kazakhstan.
Mm-hmm.
The different Russian-speaking nations had this humor that was kind of broadcast and developed in Armenia. So we will do our best to bring you English language Armenian radio. And thank you so much for listening.
Yeah, and thank you, Hazva, for this segment, with new segment that we're going to have, and we'll try to do it more often.
Every once in a while.
Yeah,
every once in a while.
as often as it is possible. Now,
and we've got a comment just quick before we head off to commercials.
Yeah,
right? We've got a comment from a friend of mine back in Minnesota, Hank Moratsky. He says pokey. We call it Donatel time.
Oh, I think you need to explain what pokey is right after.
Well, it's got
maybe now. Yeah.
Yeah, we still have a little bit of time.
Yeah.
Right? We've got it's got two. It could, but I'm going to steer away from that because there are two other more appropriate ones.
Pokey. Does that
first of all, pokey
have to do anything with poker? Playing poker?
I don't think
so. Okay.
No. Pokey is a slang term for slow.
Oh.
And one of my favorite books when I was a little kid that my parents used to read to me was The Pokey Little Puppy, which basically means the slow little puppy. It's one of the little golden books. And yeah.
So that's how they call you back home.
They call me Poke. I am a little slow. I'm always running a little late.
Maybe laid back.
Yeah, maybe. Or just slow.
Not slow.
just slow. Another meaning of the word pokey is jail.
Oh.
So if you say, "Hey, quit being pokey," it means quit being slow and hurry up.
Mm-hmm.
But if somebody is in the pokey, it means they're in jail.
Okay.
So I'm gonna throw you in the pokey.
We have started our slang segment, which will continue after our break. So don't go anywhere. It's education time, education moment. Stay tuned with a Great American Weekend on Radio Von 103.1.
Ina, what would make America great again?
More barbecue.
No, we need more freedom. That's what'll make it great.
Join us on Great American Weekend.
And help us solve all of America's problems.
Every show is recorded by the NSA and sent to the White House.
Oh,
I love that one.
Those Armenians, they only think about barbecue.
And they always cooperate with the NSA.
Always, yeah.
So this is the Great American Weekend on Radio Vaughn. I am Master Steve with Hazva QT and Ina MK, and I've got a quiz for you two.
Oh, I'm kind of nervous.
Oh, boy.
Oh, it's not that tough. And it's
Okay.
not that long. I'm
Okay.
going to be easy.
Please tell me there's
I'm gonna be
something about the
easy on you.
Minnesota accent.
It's about Minnesota
Minnesota.
slang.
Oh,
Minnesota.
Hazva's gonna win. He's gonna.
No, that's
because
So are you guys
he
ready?
knows
I'm ready.
all these
I'm
accents.
ready. I'm ready.
Can you decipher Minnesota slang? The first question. In Minnesota, the expression oofda means you're feeling disgruntled, excited, or anxious.
Anxious.
Oofta. Man, even saying it makes me sound like disgruntled or anxious.
Should we do disgruntled or anxious?
I say disgruntled, you say anxious.
Yeah.
Well, I can only do one.
Yeah. Accept Aramas'
Okay.
answers, and I will just.
Okay. Next. The
what?
phrase.
Wait, you don't tell us that? You
No,
don't
I
tell
will
us
at the
that?
end. I will at the end.
And, oh, man, I have to wait.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
write down my answers right now, so that then we compare
Okay,
them. Okay.
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 The phrase "ya betcha"
Ya betcha.
Yeah,
is typically
betcha.
Ya
meant to
betcha.
indicate, "Yeah, ya betcha."
Yeah, you betcha. Eh? Yeah, you betcha right.
Agreement, anger, or annoyance.
I know that one. Agreement.
Okay. Question number 3. What does the average Minnesotan call a carbonated beverage?
Pop.
Soda.
Soda, Coke, or pop?
Yeah, maybe pop.
Maybe it's soda.
Maybe it's pop.
Because Minnesota.
Soda.
Minnesota.
Well, you know, we are from
No,
Minnesota.
some
Soda.
pop. No, they'll say pop.
Pop. Yeah.
Pop?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
pop it up.
Question number 4 out of 12. What is a hot dish in Minnesota? Any kind of casserole, a dish consisting of leftovers, tater tots, and cheese.
It's called a hot
Tater
dish.
tots. Do I have to explain tater tots?
Yes.
I know tater tots. But,
I don't.
tater tots. Here, let me do a quick explanation. Ready? Take potatoes, grind them up into like small little pieces, then fry those pieces in clumps. Those are tater tots.
Okay. Does
Right?
that sound good or no? Okay.
It's a staple of cafeterias
Yes.
Okay.
in
okay.
the United States.
I see.
It's school food.
So what's the third option?
The third is a dish you bring to a potluck or a party.
Maybe number 3. Party dish.
What do you guys think?
What do you think,
Party dish?
Hazva?
I say what now?
We're
Hot
taking a
dish.
quiz.
Hot dish.
Hot dish? Is a party dish? No. Hot dish. It's like any casserole. I think it's any casserole.
Okay.
A hot dish is like a casserole.
Question number 5. When a Minnesotan says, "That's interesting," when discussing a matter of opinion, what do they really mean?
They
That
completely
they
disagree.
agree?
No.
That they disagree?
Disagree.
Or they're upset?
Maybe
that's
upset.
It's a little bit of B and C, but it's more B. They're like,
Okay.
that's
So they
interesting.
disagree.
Okay.
But wait, I mean, how are they saying it? Depends on the
Well,
intonation.
it depends on how they, and you know, that's
So, like, let's
interesting.
say, like, I firmly believe in total governmental support of healthcare, free healthcare for everyone, free education for anyone, and
Yeah,
I
that's
believe
interesting.
Yeah, all right, yeah. There you go.
The next
What do
question.
Minnesotans consider the sport of skijoor? People pulling dogs on skis, dogs pulling people on skis, dogs pulling snowmobiles. I did
Oh,
not
boy.
make up this quiz.
Who doggy? Who doggy?
So people pulling dogs on skis. So the dogs are on skis and the people are pulling
B.
them.
Number B.
B. Number B. Letter 2.
Letter 2 and number B.
Number B.
I agree.
I studied good
All right.
at school. Can't you tell?
I studied good at school. You obviously didn't study English or grammar. How well do you know good?
I know English good. I am born in America.
Question number 7. What do Minnesotans call the northern portion of the state? Up, north, or there?
I'd say wait, hold on. Like, give me context. So if someone would say to me, hey, are you from up? Is that the context? Like, yeah, so you from up or up there or north? I mean, all three of those.
Hurry up, we have
Are
3
you
more
from
minutes.
there?
I'll say
Oh,
up.
jeez.
Okay, let's do up.
Yeah.
I'll say
Okay.
up. Up, ready? Up. Yeah, let's do
Up,
up.
okay.
Okay, let's go.
Number 8. What is lutefisk?
Lutefisk.
A type of
Fish.
fishing, dried cod
Yes.
soaked in lye
Yes.
or any fish
Yes.
taken from a lake.
You even speak like the dude. The great, what was that, the NPR show? What's the NPR show? That had the thing.
Oh.
You know what I'm talking
Okay.
about? Like,
Yes, Garrison Keeler.
Yes, Garrison Keeler.
The Prairie Home Companion.
Okay,
Yeah,
with
Prairie
Garrison
Home
Keeler.
Companion.
So is it A or C?
Lake
It's
will be gone.
lutefisk is a
Any fish?
awful fish that is like completely dried and tastes like crap. Don't ever taste. My personal opinion, of course.
I have had it once.
There you go. And he's a lifetime Minnesotan until our.
It actually, you never, at least in the circles that I grew up in, you never really saw it. It was always just a joke.
Mysterious thing.
It was always just a joke. Yeah. Question number 9. Which phrase are you more likely to find in Minnesota? Don't you know? You guys or y'all?
Don't you know?
Y'all.
Come on, give me an answer. Don't you know?
Don't you
the
know?
answer?
Except Hazva's answers.
Okay.
I'm just checking my
10.
knowledge.
What do Minnesotans consider salad? Leafy greens and veggies, Jell-O, marshmallows, and maybe some fruit. Anything that's a combination of several foods put together.
A.
A. Okay.
I agree.
11. What is beer? What is a beer cooler in Minnesota? A plastic cooler designed for beer, putting your beer in the snow, or a fridge typically located in a garage.
Oh, garage fridge.
Yes.
Number 12. What is crapola in
Holy
Minnesota?
Crapola. Crapola is like a negative term to describe something that's
Yeah.
not cool.
An expression of disdain. A cranberry apple granola. Crapola. I love that. Cranberry apple granola. Crapola. Or something you say in front of kids rather than cursing.
Yeah, well, yeah, the last one. The last one.
Okay.
Yeah, maybe the last one.
It's a load of crapola.
And the last one?
Calculating. That's it. We're done.
That's it?
Yep,
Okay,
it is
we're-
calculating your score.
We're not going to tell about the results now.
Until after the break.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, stay
cliffhanger.
tuned. Commercial and music. Stand By Me by Seal. The Great American Weekend with all the quizzes and the slang followed by later.
What's the best word in American English?
My all-time favorite word is but I usually refer to it as lovemaking.
Become more fluent in American English and slang.
I love that
Welcome
word.
back to the Great American Weekend here on Radio Vaughn. And that's a great song. And I guess I've never heard that version of it before. And Seal, he's got
Seal.
a great voice. He does some great stuff.
Yeah,
but
he's cool.
I love the classic one, Ben E. King. Yeah, it's just from like the 50s, early 60s. It's great. And it was on the soundtrack for that movie, Stand By Me, which if you haven't seen it,
I haven't.
incredible movie.
Who?
Really, really good
Who are
movie.
the actors?
Oh, I don't remember. But some real, I mean.
Is it an old one?
Yeah. It's from the 80s.
Okay.
Late 80s or early 90s, I think. I saw it when I was in high school, and it was already kind of old at that point. But it takes place in the 50s, and it's about these kids who just before they start high school or middle school or something like that, they're early teens, and they go on this kind of adventure. And it's the last time that this group of really close friends is kind of together and that close. And it's
I think I remember seeing it a while ago.
It's a great movie. It's a great movie. And then, Ben E. King and that song. Oh, I love that stuff.
Nostalgic.
Anyway, so, very nostalgic.
Minnesota.
And it's funny. Yeah, okay, so the results of the quiz, you guys got 8 out of 12.
Wow.
Which is pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Nice team. Woo. Let me do the applause. Just a second. We need that now. Applause. Ta-da. Woo.
So I think you guys could be considered honorary Minnesotans. If you go there, you might just fit in.
Can we hear the answer?
Yeah, so oofda, you're disgruntled, you're upset. Oofda.
Yeah.
You know, it's,
Mine was wrong.
You know, ya betcha is agreement.
Yeah, betcha. Don't you know?
In Minnesota, we call carbonated beverages pop.
Pop. Yeah.
Yep. Gonna go grab a pop. Yep. A hot dish is any kind of casserole.
Okay.
Let's see. That's interesting is something you say in a certain tone of voice when you disagree.
Okay, we
Minnesotans
got that one.
are pretty, you guys got that one. Minnesotans are pretty well known for kind of being passive aggressive, I guess. You know, oh yeah, that's what you think. That's great.
Great, okay.
Yeah.
Interesting opinion.
Skijor, and this I've never heard of. It must be something new. And I haven't been to Minnesota in the winter, which is when you would do this, since 2005. I haven't been to Minnesota in the winter.
And
so
you've never
this
seen
must
that.
be new. I've never seen this. Dogs pulling people on skis.
Yeah, we had that one, right?
This sounds pretty cool. One thing that I did do when I was growing up was sketching.
Sketching.
Yeah,
What
and
is
that's
that?
when they don't plow the roads very well in the winter and there's a bunch of ice or snow on the roads. You run up to a passing car, or we used to do it like with our friends as they were driving by, so we knew the people, but you can do it with strangers, and then they stop and they yell at you. You run up and you grab onto their car and you drag your feet on the ground, so you're skidding on the snow on your boots behind the car. And then you let go and you go sliding off into the snowbank on the side of the road.
The car needs to go really slow.
No, actually, that's not the point. Because some people would stop and get out and yell at you, and other people would kind of play along, and they just go as fast as they could.
It's like
and see how
houses.
long you could, see how long you could hang on.
North?
Skijo. The northern portion of the state. Wait a second. Really?
Up?
It says it's up. But
Yeah,
that
that's
one
what we
doesn't-
answered.
Yeah.
Hazva.
The north. I mean, up north is what we would always. You go up north. You leave the Twin Cities, which is the two big cities in Minnesota, kind of the bottom third, the northern border of the bottom third of the state. Minneapolis and St. Paul, and they're on opposite sides of the Mississippi River, and the suburbs surrounding them. Pretty much anything outside of that is considered up north. Even if you're not necessarily going up north, you're going west, you know? And a lot of people in Minnesota have cabins, or they know somebody who has a cabin. And a cabin is basically a little shack or vacation house or whatever that's on a lake.
I've lived in a cabin.
Yeah. So one of the things that I always have to do when I go back to Minnesota is head up north, get out of the cities, and go to the lake. Go to the cabin.
The cabin that I lived in was in Texas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Was it on a lake?
They
They don't have any lakes down there, do they?
I'm not sure because I don't remember the details, but I remember it. I remember the cabin.
Lutefisk is dried cod soaked in lye. Ugh. Okay. Don't you know? Don't you know?
Don't you know?
Yeah, that's what we say in Minnesota. Don't you know?
Don't you know?
Salad in Minnesota, and this is kind of poking fun, but Jell-O, marshmallows, and maybe fruit. Like a fruit salad has Jell-O and marshmallows and fruit in it. That's a fruit salad.
Oh.
In Minnesota. And it's something you bring to picnics and whatever. It's a mixture of marshmallows and Jell-O and fruit.
Salad.
Yes.
That's
a fruit salad.
Never. I would never think.
A beer cooler is putting your beer in the snow.
Garage.
And crapola is something you say in front of kids rather than cursing.
Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Or
I've got 6. I mean,
wait a second.
And Hazva.
A cranberry apple granola? Maybe that, no. A cranberry apple granola.
Is actually a cranberry. Please tell me.
I have been away from the U.S.
Please tell
for
me
far
that's a
too
real
long.
thing. A crapola?
I apparently it
Are
is.
you serious?
I don't know. I'm having a hard time now.
Holy crapola!
Crapola. Holy crapola.
Wait, how? Yeah, it is. Wow, I've been away for too long. But I am looking forward to. I'm gonna go back to Minnesota this winter.
Yeah.
And
you're gonna catch up
and go ice fishing
with all the slang
and spearing and snowmobiling.
Bring us some more slang with you.
Yeah, spearing.
Don't you know?
I'll tell you about it in December before I go.
I just imagine a bunch of like Viking-looking dudes going with spears in the snow and hunting some kind of endangered animal.
No, it's fishing. It's a form of fishing.
That's interesting.
Are we done with Minnesota stuff or?
We're done, but
Okay.
have you got some?
I've got more.
Yeah, you've got more, which you will.
Of course.
Which we
I'll
will
save for next week.
No, please share with us after the break if you don't mind.
Oh, okay.
Because we are having a music break right now.
Some more good tunes. What do we got? What do we got queued up?
We've got Autumn Leaves by Professor R.J. Ross. Autumn Leaves.
We got another
It's a
professor
cover.
in the house.
Yeah, I guess it's a two professors in one studio. So I'd like to remind you guys that you can watch us live on www.radiovan.fm, our official website, and also our Facebook page, which is Radio Van 103.1. And our Facebook group, the group of our show, Great American Weekend Radio Van. You can also download an application and watch us anywhere around the globe on your smartphones. And also, of course, the frequency. 103.1 Radio Van. This is the Great American Weekend, new season, autumn, and now we're going to listen to Autumn Leaves. Stay tuned. We'll be back shortly.
Hey, what kind of fixins do you like on your hot dog?
Fixins?
Yeah, relish, onions, mustard, ketchup, condiments.
Conda?
No, not that.
Oh, fixins. I love chili dogs.
Learn about American cuisine on the Great American Weekend.
Who knows?
Welcome back to the Great American Weekend here on Radio Van.
Autumn Leaves, and it was a great version. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, that was funky. I don't know how autumny that is. It's kind of funky cool.
Yeah, jazzy. Great mood. Why do we get so romantic in autumn?
Do we?
I do.
Yeah, that,
Maybe
do
it's
we?
because it's my birthday in October.
It's your birthday in October?
Yeah.
Ooh.
Libra,
baby.
Yep.
Well, I don't know. I mean, there are a lot of weddings this month in Armenia, aren't there?
There you go.
I mean, that's why I'm
Romantic
all,
season.
That's why I'm all dressed up
Steve,
today.
You're always dapper.
I left the tie. I love. Thank you. I love my sport coats. I will wear a sport coat for any reason or for no reason at all.
I like it too. It gives me like broader shoulders.
It just-
They usually don't fit. Like this one, it barely buttons only when I'm standing. You know.
Well, you don't have to button it.
No, I know.
I've got ones. I've got a sport coat like that too.
It doesn't button.
It barely buttons, and the sleeves are a little short. So I wear it not with a button-down shirt, but with
I
a
do it
T-shirt
just
underneath, like yours,
For my
like
guns.
you're doing.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
cool.
the guns. Yeah.
You see, you
Looks
got
really
a
good.
bulge, little
And the little thing, what is it? A button? Or,
it's a little pin.
But for me, the tie
looks good.
is not something I normally do.
The tie.
You look
vest
really
two-piece
dressy.
is a
Thank you.
number
Yeah.
right there.
Well, I mean, the three-piece suit with
Oh,
You can't.
no.
I swear, you should not be allowed to wear a 3-piece suit
Without
if you
cufflinks.
don't have
Cufflinks.
a pocket watch.
Pocket watch. It's
And the pocket watch.
awesome.
Look at
Yeah,
that.
let's give a hand to Master
But
Steve right
for me,
here.
ties are for special occasions. So something that's happening to celebrate
Special,
a
official.
once in a lifetime event. You're getting married,
Like
you're
wedding.
graduating, you're getting
Like a
baptized,
wedding or
you're
like
getting
the Han
buried.
protests.
Graduation.
graduation. Yeah, they're
Yeah, I
about 2 or
get
3
screwed up.
times a year. I wear ties. Graduations, weddings. Yeah.
I bet you go to a lot of weddings in Armenia.
No, actually,
No?
For years,
Oh, really?
for years I'd only been to like 2.
Then all your friends are married already.
No.
I guess.
All of my friends are no, not all of them. A lot of my friends are unmarried and they know better.
Okay, please list with phone numbers. Provide to those still unmarried yet.
No, because if they get married, then they're not going to have as much time to hang out with me.
Marry my
Come on,
life.
so selfish. You don't think about your co-hosts at all. Okay. So, what do we have for our slang as a summary?
Are we gonna do news? Are we gonna do news?
I would
or is
rather
nothing's
do-
haping? Nothing's going on in the
there's
U.S.
nothing
At least
happening in
nothing
the world.
important.
If we have time
Hong
left.
Kong is protesting. United States covertly bombed Idlib in Syria, which caused
We've
Oh,
got
between Turkey
two
and
segments
Russia.
for news.
And there's a gigantic hurricane that just
it ended up not being that gigantic by the time it hit the U.S.
Yes,
it,
I know.
It
and did
devastated.
not hit Alabama, which is very important.
Yeah, but did you see today?
What the
Noah?
Yeah,
Noah came
Noah-
out and said,
yeah,
actually, at one point,
I mean,
it was.
100% in my imagination, because just seeing the man himself be like, look, the spaghetti models were like this. This is how it was originally. That was like a week ago. And then it was like this. And then he's like, he has to be right. And then at the end of it, he's like, listen, call Noah, get the person online, just tell them to say and put a message out there that says, this is Donald Trump. I could hear, call Noah, get them to tell the people in a tweet that I, Donald Trump, was not wrong, and have them just say that originally the model said Alabama, because that's what it was. And then we put the story to bed. And fine, even if it was, that's fine, but it's not the actual information that is the point, the subject of interest. It's his attitude after the fact that.
But you know what? Here's the real dysfunction behind this: the fact that it is a news story. I turned on CNN the other day. They spent 3 minutes talking about this.
Yes.
What the hell?
Well,
I'm sorry, but what the hell? That is
that
absolutely
long?
pointless.
I agree.
Yeah.
With you.
Yeah.
About this, which is nothing, which is something that we know Donald Trump will do. And if you haven't accepted that yet, you are trying to create a different reality to live in.
I mean,
so just accept it. He does that. Move on. By dwelling on it, you only make things worse.
Well,
you only make
propagate
him
it,
more
yes.
stubborn.
Move
I mean,
on.
it's just
Get over
forget it and move on.
Yeah, but the thing is, you can't. It's like something that you can't forget, because
And they called it Sharpie Gate, which is just the stupidest of stupidest things.
Stephen Colbert called it Watergate, which I thought was clever. But
Hey guys,
what-
really quickly, I want to
Let's
say
go to a
hello.
commercial.
No. I want to say hello to Mary Ann Stein, one of my teachers back in my high school in the U.S. She just liked our video. So,
Marianne Stein, thank you so
Mrs.
much for liking our
Stein,
video.
hello.
You did a good job with this one.
Ina is speaking English still.
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 And with,
Hello, Mrs. Stein. Hello, all the way from Armenia to you. Hugs and yeah, I I miss a lot of my friends from
Okie
Lakeland
dokie.
Academy. Yeah, okie dokie.
Okie dokie.
It's another Minnesota
I
one.
I just
Okie
saw
dokie.
her liking
a
the
New
video,
Yorker
so I
would say,
couldn't.
all right, let's get back to business.
Yeah. Let's go back
That's
to
a Donald Trump.
Let's go back to Donald Trump.
Ish.
Oh my God! Yeah.
Ish.
So the thing for me is like,
Ishy.
all right.
What was the word
It's just
for-
ishy.
What was the word for no
Oofta.
Ufta.
Oofta.
Yeah, oofta indeed. Yeah, so the news coverage of the whole the hurricane, I agree. It's like a distraction from what many other things that need attention, but at the same time, there's like this highly unpresidential activity going on that just
Get over it. Get over it. That's the man. That's the man that's the man that America put
you don't
into
have to
office.
reiterate that again. I get that.
That's
But
it.
what
Get
I mean
over
to
it
say
and
is
just
this.
roll
Is
with
there
it.
nothing that can be done about a president such as this?
No, there isn't.
There's no.
There isn't.
The impeachment won't lead to getting him out of office. There's no way to say like
Well,
we don't like you.
impeachment, but I mean, impeach him on what? The fact that he's being very unpresidential?
No.
What kind of political game playing crap is that?
Oh man, so many things.
So many things. Where is the evidence?
Master
And if there
Steve.
was evidence, then it bugs the hell out of me that
FBI
we are actually talking about all of this
Yes.
when there's other stuff going on.
Sure.
I mean, you could be talking about Dorian hitting, running up the Carolinas. Right, and causing havoc. We could be talking about the absolute devastation that it caused in the Bahamas.
Sure.
But we're not.
Sure.
And the news stations weren't talking about that either,
Well,
as
they
much
are
as
talking about
they were
that.
talking about Trump's playing golf instead of doing something about the hurricane. Sharpie Gate. Done. Over.
Yeah, I mean, it's no, it's
I
no-
didn't watch the news
it's
when I
no
was in the
news
U.S.
that the news works
Because-
off of getting ratings from what they report on. And if some coverage gets more attention than others, that's what for example, in this sphere that we're in, if we notice that some conversations garner more attention than others, if we were propagated by attention and that we wanted sponsors to listen to us more, we would have those conversations that would have more viewers to listen to it. So
Yeah,
it's
like
also
naked women.
I would also, yeah, well, there's something like that. But
I'm not sure naked women would go over that well on the radio.
No, not here, no. But what I would say is this: you have to also get over the fact that the capitalist model.
Oh, here
that
and now for
exists-
something
that
completely
exists.
different.
Oh,
Have
let
you
me-
guys
let me
ever
finish
heard of
the
the
sentence, let me
band?
finish
Have you
the
guys ever heard of the
Let me
band, the
finish-
Bare
let me
Naked
just finish the
Ladies?
sentence, Steve.
30 seconds.
All right. The capitalist model that exists, that has created the news in the way that advertising sales leads to the propagation of the jobs that is created by the news media, doesn't necessarily service the requirement of it to report on things that are
capitalism.
considered
That's not
relevant by
capitalism. That's consumerism and narrow-mindedness.
Yeah, but I mean that's consumerism is a reflection of the capitalist
No,
society that America has been based off of.
It's a distortion of it. It's a dysfunction.
Sure, you could say a derivation of it, but it's
Let
still.
me remind that you mentioned before during the show that people from Minnesota are passive aggressive.
I'm not.
They're passive.
That's why they kicked me out.
I'm just aggressive.
That's why we're going on a break and we'll have our last segment of calendar of events. Ladies and gentlemen, stay tuned. We have a very useful information for you guys for an upcoming week. Thank you. We'll be back.
Hey, where are you off to?
I'm playing soccer.
You lost your sock?
No, I'm playing soccer. What you call football?
No, you don't say soccer. You say football.
Join us on the Great American Weekend and learn about different sports from America and around the world.
Not only sports, but also calendar of events is here for your attention, dear listeners. So let's start with American Corner Yerevan program. Who wants to do it? Should I do
We've
it?
got a little bit of a change here.
Yeah, we've got
the debate
change with-
club has been disbanded apparently, and they're going with something which I think is
It's
going to
new.
be very
There was a
interesting.
new
It's
club.
new, yeah. Art in Conversation. Okay, this is with Jim Daly again, right? Are you interested in art? Would
Yes,
you
I
like
am.
to discuss the life and work of your favorite artists?
Yes, I would.
Then join this new club with Jim Daly in Art and Conversation. It's every Tuesday at 1 p.m. This club is an exploration of visual art forms and their cultural connections. It's for the student with little experience in the visual arts. So you don't need art
Yeah, you don't have
education
to be
or
an
experience.
art expert.
Yeah. To participate, but you should have an intermediate or advanced level of English. Okay, the discussion every week will include a brief study of art history and in-depth studies of the elements, media, and methods used in the creative processes and the thoughts behind them. This week, they'll be talking about exploring the life and works of two great female artists, Frida and Georgia O'Keeffe.
Yep.
So,
interesting.
Yeah, and again, you don't need to be an art expert or have an art background to participate.
Just intermediate and advanced level.
Exactly. So, and the reading club is still going on. So if you enjoy a good story and want to expand your vocabulary as well as practice your listening and speaking skills, join the Yerevan American Corners Reading Club with Clark Long every Tuesday at 3 p.m. This week, you will read and discuss famous Indian chiefs I have known. An intermediate level of English is required for participation in this club.
Mm-hmm. And there is the Teenage Club, which invites all teenagers to their weekly club where they can improve their English and learn more about American culture and lifestyle. And fun part is no homework, no assignment, only games, discussions, group activities, and tons of fun. It is every Thursday, so make sure you join and subscribe beforehand. And that we've waited for long to hear the voice of Hazva with a Russian accent.
English movies.
And now,
Not a big list, though.
we will have movies in English with a Russian accent at Kino Park, because all movies that are in English in Armenia have Russian subtitles or are just dubbed in Russian. Movies in English at Kino Park with a Russian accent. Yerevan Mall. IT chapter... What? IT chapter 2?
It.
Ah.
The horror movie, It.
Yes,
It, the horror movie by Stephen King. This horror movie, please make sure not to bring your children, or else they will be very afraid.
And they will hate clowns after
It's
that.
a 2019 American supernatural horror film and the sequel to the 27 film It. So this is It Chapter 2, September 7th to 11th at 5:40 p.m. and 11:20 p.m.
And thank you, Hazva. So now let's move to opera and ballet. Anush Opera in 3 acts, September 10th at 7 p.m. We've got German Song Evening, a concert organized at the theater's foyer, September 13th at 7 p.m. And Guyana Ballet in 3 acts, September 14th at 7 p.m. So if you guys enjoy ballet and opera, go ahead and purchase the tickets beforehand. Now let's move to music.
Yeah, live music around Yerevan. We've got Karen Mamikoyan and David Melkonyan, a duo. I wonder who the other 2 pieces of that quartet were before going.
Armenian Radio reference.
They stayed on the moon.
Exactly, those guys stayed on the moon. Boom.
So that duo is playing September 8th at 8:30 at Ulihanyan Club. We've got An Gordanak, which I'm massacring that name, I am sure, live at the venue. Even though I can't pronounce the name, I'm probably going to go see that. It should be a good show. September 8th, so tomorrow night at 9:30. Los Reyes Quartet, September 9th at 8:30, Ulihanyan Club. We've got Jam with Daniel Melkonyan, his quartet, on September 10th at Ulihanyan Club as well. Hike Sakarian Trio, September 12th at Ulihanyan. The Bombir and Love Eli, September 13th. Love Eli. They are a great band.
Yeah, they are.
At Russia Cinema on the 13th, Bombir and Love Eli.
I'll have to interrupt you for a moment just to stress how special of a concert that is, because the Russia Mall Theater is a historic theater that was closed after the fall of the Soviet Union.
Correct, and it's a great one.
It was privatized, the theater.
Yes.
It was one of the primary theaters that people went to in Yerevan, and was recently opened during the Golden Apricot Film Festival.
Thanks for mentioning it.
Yeah, for the re-release of the Sergei Parajanov. So if you want to check out a historic theater in Armenia and see a live concert in a really cool environment, go check out La Veli.
So, and then we've got Artyom Manukian and friends at the Mirzoyan Library, September 14th at 8 p.m. This is a live jazz performance with a great lineup. What do we have in the clubs?
There is also Yerevan Music Night 2018 at Kami Club, September 14th at 4 p.m. This is a different show. It's going to be outside of Kami Club, actually, featuring Serpuk, Garik Papoyan and Sona Rubenian, Aram MP3, Kami Friends Project, Dialogue Music Project. So it's going to be a great concert. Make sure you don't miss this one. And let's move to the festivals. Arts and Crafts Festival in Dilijan. It's going to happen September 9th at 1 p.m. through 8 p.m. Ahora Festival in Armenia 2019 is going to start September 5th at 5 p.m. through September 9th at 12 p.m. Gathering of art and culture, including a wide spectrum of both organic and electronic music, visuals, paintings, handcrafts, and many more forms of expressive arts together for the first time in Armenia. There's also Harvest Festival of Rural Life and Traditions, so on September 14th at 11 p.m. at English Park. And we've got Old School versus New School Volume 4. It's a party. It starts at 10 p.m. on September 12th. So one more thing I would like to mention really quickly. In cinemas of Armenia, starting from September 12th, there is Kilikia, The Land of Lions, a trilogy presenting a crucially important period in the history. Kilikia was an international hub, played a significant role in the political situation of that period and economic development of the district. So make sure you don't miss this one, because there is a lot of good talking around this 19-minute movie, which we hope will have a continuation.
Very cool. I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Yeah, me too. And Rafi plays in that movie, by the way. Mm-hmm. And so now we're ready to finish and wrap up. We enjoyed this show. We missed the studio and we missed each other.
It is good to be back.
It's good to be in the neighborhood.
It's good to be back.
All good in
Hopefully
the hood.
You guys enjoy having us back.
Yeah, we're all full of energy, even though it's autumn and the nature is dying, but we're not.
Sell apoptosis for all of our listeners out there. Thank you so much, and thank you so much for listening to all of our loyal listeners and viewers out there.
Yeah.
See you next week.
Thank you, Hazva. Thank you, Master Steve.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ina.
It was great.
See you next week.
We enjoyed it as always. Bye-bye. Have a great
bye.
end of the weekend.